Not impressed.
Um,
That's what's good to be all good.
Okay.
We're gonna-
Rousing come to the Elks on the first,
Burn.
No, didn't.
no, 5 to 6:30, we should go.
What a bargain. Oh. What a bargain. Hey, you know what? There's something. Yeah. Come on, mate. Yeah. Detroit. Absolutely.
Good evening and welcome to the regular town council meeting for March 17th, 2026. I'd like to call the meeting to order. Ask everybody to stand for the pledge of allegiance. Pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Ask you to join me in a moment of silence. Thank you. Moving on to adoption of the minutes. I'll look for a motion from the council to adopt the regular meeting minutes from February 17th, 2026.
Make a motion, we adopt meeting minutes February 17th, 2026.
A second. Moved and seconded. Are there any questions, concerns, comments regarding the meeting minutes from February 17th? Hearing none, since we're ready to vote, all those in favor of adopting the meeting minutes from February 17th, 2026, please signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed, say nay. Ayes have it. The meeting minutes are adopted. Moving on to item number 5, presentations. We do have one tonight. We have John Dottie of Two Trees Forestry, Consulting Foresters, presenting on the timber harvest forest valuation report. John?
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you.
Before I get started, does everybody have a copy of the valuation report that we pulled together? You interested? You're interested in it?
See it. Yeah, thank you.
And then anybody else?
I'll take mine. I did that.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome. You're good?
Yeah,
You're
thank you.
still good?
Yeah.
You're all good?
Yep, thank you.
Perfect. Thank you all for welcoming me here tonight and for working with Two Trees Forestry on figuring out what's going on in the town forest. So yes, as said before, my name is John Doty. I'm a consulting forester with Two Trees Forestry. We're based in Winthrop, Maine. There are 3 of us in Maine, but we recently were acquired by a much larger company based out of Georgia. So we bring a whole extra, host of skills and duties and specialties to the table that we hadn't had before. I've been involved in a number of different municipal timber, forest management planning and timber harvesting projects. So this is not new territory to me. We've done in the recent years, town of Winslow, town of Manchester, town of Reedfield. And there's at least one other, town of China, in the past 5 to 10 years. So this is not a new process to me. We've been through this before. So yeah, what I was tasked to do was to get out on, there were 6 different tax parcels that I was asked to look into. If you go onto the second page of the report, there's sort of an overview map. So each of these properties are roughly 200 acres in size, and they're all relatively contiguous on both sides of the airport, and then on the other side, Pelthome Avenue. Of the 6 parcels, only 3 of them have upland land that is growing forests that are really possible for forest management. A large percentage of this land is either open wetland or just, kind of sphagnum moss with small trees, not really productive, not really manageable land. So we focused our investigation on the areas that are shaded in red on this map. And what we did was a pretty comprehensive and systematic walkthrough of those areas, including a systematic timber inventory. So we measured tree data, species, diameter, height, what sort of products you could potentially get from those trees, and use some mathematical relationships and equations to aggregate that up to a parcel by parcel inventory report for each of the 3 parcels that have timber on it. And then also we were looking for things like wetlands and streams that might complicate management. We were looking for recreational uses. The town farm northeast of Peltoma, where, you know, there's a whole system of hiking trails, there's an ITS snowmobile trail, there's a lot of use in that area. Whereas the other two on either side of the airport, no real planned recreational uses out there. There's clearly people are using it for hiking or for hunting and those sort of things, but there's no trails that are, you know, formal and maintained, and it's just kind of like a backcountry recreation area is the way that I see it. And then other things, we were looking for invasive plant species that might be worthy of the town thinking about taking action to control those. In areas where it seemed like there was gonna be forest management activities recommended in the short term, I spent a little bit more time looking for boundary line information just to see if that was something that would be a hurdle for us. If we needed to get a survey before a timber harvest, that might slow us down, so I wanna figure that out sooner rather than later. And so, yeah, so each of those kind of fed into this report progresses from west to east. So starting on the west side of the airport is the first lot that we take up. There's a description of the forest type that's growing out there. And in the pages that follow, just after the map, there's two tables that break the forest land down into. The left-hand table is the higher value, better quality, bigger diameter trees that could be used for boards and beams and things of that nature, where you really are generating income from your timber harvesting. And then the right-hand side is the pulpwood, which is smaller diameter, poorer quality, either just by virtue of its size, not feasible for sale to these higher value markets, or it's too branchy, it's crooked, it's rotten, things like that. And these are samples, they're not 100% inventory. There's some, you know, some error in there. It's not a guarantee that there is exactly, if you added the 27,425 to the 17,465, that number is not likely to be the exact value of the products that are harvestable from out there, but it's the most efficient way we can give you numbers that are worthwhile to stand upon and make some you know, management decisions based upon.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, then we go into forest health concerns, recreational use and opportunities, ecological, environmental concerns, especially as you get over towards the town farm property where the Spastic River is going by it. There's a lot of different either zonings or rare and endangered plants or just really sensitive ecosystems that we want to be careful to not disturb and, you know, first do no harm and then do good. And so, yeah, there's a breakdown of each of that for each particular lot, but I'll just kind of give you the high points. So starting west of the airport, that's a forest that I see there is enough maturity, there is enough trees to do some timber harvesting. It was kind of secondary priority in my mind compared to a different lot out here, but it's something that's ready. The mix of species out there, there's a lot of popple, which is fairly short-lived, and it's starting to go into decline just based on its age and different pathological reasons. There's a kind of stand of hemlock, you know, about that size, just getting to being usable for higher value products that could be thinned out. There's some pine scattered through there, and then there's a mix of smaller red maple, red oak, some other species. So it's kind of a hodgepodge. Definitely in need of management sooner rather than later. I would say it's been several decades since any real timber harvesting has been done out there. But again, I see it as something that should be managed in the short term, but it was secondary priority to another, the town farm property on the east side of Peltoma. And that area also has a series of testing wells, I think they are. That runs through it for the water treatment plant, so that was just another sort of concern that I had raised in the management planning, making sure to not damage that infrastructure. The central lot on the east side of the airport has a similar mix of species, but on average shorter and smaller diameter. So that was an area where I'm proposing we let it grow for another 10 years and then reevaluate. This is ultimately going to build into doing a more comprehensive forest management plan, leveraging a lot of the same data that we collected for this. So you'll get more information, you'll get more specifics and more maps and charts and thoughts and whatnot, but yeah, through there. Didn't see anything pressing to attend to. But the sort of the primary focus, I would say, of the next steps and the area that I was the most concerned with getting to work on was the town farm property. And so we can swing ahead to the near the end, map 12, lot 25. So each of these 3 lots that have harvestable timber on them, the first 2, if you added up the values that I quoted you and what those values are stumpage values. So they're what the landowner would be expected to be paid for the harvested wood. So typically when you do a timber sale, the logger is going to offer you a variety of different rates for the products that they're going to harvest, dice up and sell to particular mills, and based on their quality and value, you'll either make more money or less money. And so what I'm quoting you is the amount I would think you could expect to receive from a timber harvest, what the logger offers to pay you. It's not like the logger has a time clock going and you pay him, $500 an hour. He offers you a particular rate for each product, and based upon how much is on a truckload scaled by the mill, that's what you get paid. So anytime you go into these, you're not expecting, or we can quote you relatively reasonable brackets of what to expect for income, and you're never concerned that there's going to be a cost that you're not forecasting.
Right.
So yeah, this property is really the unique one of the 3 in terms of it has a substantial timber value, probably triple or quadruple that of the other 2 lots that we inventoried. It's predominantly pine, which if you're going to try to generate income from harvesting timber is the species to do it from. And it has, again, been quite a while since there's been any sort of management action out there, so it's fairly overcrowded. And what that leads to is that the trees are shedding their branches and not holding as many needles, and the needles are the solar panels for the tree. So as they're competing, nobody's really winning, and they're all kind of losing their vigor and slowing down their growth and becoming more susceptible to pest and disease issues. And so what we advocate doing is going out there and selectively harvesting the pine trees that are in the worst shape from a forest health perspective, and finding the trees that are still growing fairly well and have the ability to be released from competition, and cut the trees out from around that tree so it can take in more sunlight and increase its growth and vigor and health and whatnot. So yeah, what we propose doing is on a subset of the acres, and if you look at the very last page is a zoomed in map on the town farm. The areas that are hashed in blue, and it might be kind of hard to see just color wise, but there's about 40 acres out here that is pine dominant upland forest, and it kind of stays outside of the floodplain area of the river. There's a number of different depressions that we'll have to work around that have more sensitive soils, have more, potential issues with creating water quality issues or rutting or anything like that. So yeah, we've allocated or identified about 40 acres that really are suitable for timber harvesting, really have a need for timber harvesting, and will be, very attractive. A very attractive project for whatever logger ends up winning the bid to do it. And we have, in the prior page, given some rough income expectations. But those income expectations will be even higher resolution by the time we bring this project to a pool of potential loggers for them to bid on it. And what I mean by that is, the next steps for us in terms of laying out the harvest would be to go out and physically mark or blue paint every tree that we propose harvesting. And while we're doing that, we tally the saw timber that's in each of those trees so that we have as close to 100% tally as to the saw timber volume, so we can fully understand the resource that we're trying to sell before we bring it to market. And yeah, the typical process with municipal timber is that we mark all the timber, we create the maps as to where the harvesting is going to be, we create a bid packet to send out to a number of different loggers, try to get as many people as we can interested in coming out, lead them all on one big tour through the harvest area, talk them through all the logistical details, when we're comfortable with them harvesting out here. There's a wetland that we need to get across, what we're gonna require to ensure that that wetland is protected while timber harvesting equipment goes across it. There's a number of different recreational trails, and we don't want our work to just completely ruin all the work that's been done in the past to create those recreational trails. So we'll have expectations about, no brush can go on these trails, different measures that we can take to mitigate the damage to that recreational infrastructure. And we'll give the loggers, as we tour them around through the forest, we'll give them our expectations of what the saw timber volume and the pulpwood volume of the harvest will be. And then we'll ask them after that to fill out a prospectus, a bid form as to what they would feel comfortable paying for each of the different products out there. Every logger is a little bit different than the next guy or gal. Everybody pays for and bids for timber in a little bit different of a way. Some people will say, I'll give you this number per 1,000 board feet for the pine saw timber and this number per 1,000 board feet for the low grade pine saw timber. Another guy will give you, this is grade 1, what I'll pay you. This is grade 2, what I'll pay you. Grade 3, grade 4, grade 5. Another guy says, I'm going to keep $250 per 1,000 board feet, and whatever's left over from the mill after that is what you make. So the loggers aren't necessarily going to make it easy on me to compare bid A to bid B to bid C, but ideally, if we get enough people out there and bidding, we understand what the different pine mills are paying for the different products that are being cut and sold. So we can do some magic to try to make these apples and oranges all apples in our comparison. And ideally, if we have enough people that come out and bid, you will get sort of a bell curve of offers. And if you only have a few people, they tend to be kind of in that median bid. But if you get enough people, oftentimes you get the outliers, and that's what we're looking for, is somebody that's bidding aggressively on the timber, but also, checks out when we investigate their credentials. Different people, we'll ask for some references, we'll ask for some woodlots that we could walk, some customers that we could talk with. There's a strong possibility that the bid is won by somebody that we know, that we are comfortable with, but there's equally strong an opportunity that it could be somebody completely different that we need to spend some legwork investigating as to if they are indeed the right person for the job. And ultimately, it's the town's decision as to which of the bidders you guys want to move forward with. We'll provide as much input and expertise as we can in helping whittle down that list to the right person. But yeah, next steps would be, what we're hoping for is the month of May, we'll mark the timber. bring people out early June, late June, have them pull together their bids, and then potentially by as early as July, somebody might be harvesting out there.
Okay,
So who's the accountability hammer when it comes to making sure that they're doing what they are supposed to be doing and not making a mess?
This guy.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yep. And yeah, we would be on site at probably at least on a weekly basis. It depends. If it's a mechanized harvester that's gonna get through these 40 acres in 3 weeks, I'll be out here more often than once a week.
Right.
If it's a cable skidder guy that's gonna take, you know, the better part of the whole summer to do this job, it'll probably be on a weekly basis that I see him.
sure.
But yeah, depending upon their pace, depending upon our familiarity with them, our, you know, we're putting our reputation out here in a very public way, so this is not the place for me to screw up.
Yep. And the recommendation is just this parcel for now, and then
Yeah.
potentially the most western parcel next year or the year after.
Possibly even this winter. So
Oh,
Jack and
okay.
I have been talking about some obstruction trees around the airport that might need to be cleared out, and potentially batching that with the harvesting in that western lot,
Okay.
sooner rather than later.
Yeah, the next part of the capital improvements for the airport are to do an obstruction analysis, so they would actually formally analyze, I guess, wherever the issues are, and then we would have to have a plan to remove the trees and bush hog or whatever that study comes up with. And it would be pretty timely. I think the goal would be to try to do that, you know, in late 2026 or early 2027. It'd be timely if we could time it with another harvest so that that logger could actually maybe do both jobs at the same time and just.
Yeah,
Yeah.
saves you the equipment mobilization cost.
Right, yeah. Makes sense.
And that seems like something very, very reasonable from my perspective.
Yeah, would the walkthrough be at the same time, or the two separate
Two
jobs?
separate
altogether?
jobs.
Yeah.
I don't want
You don't
to,
treat them.
yeah, if we tried to push them together, you would scare off a lot of the loggers that don't have the capacity to do
Sure.
100
Yeah.
acres plus.
Right.
In a reasonable timeline, and it's really, you know, this pine job, any logger could do it and do a phenomenal job. And so we, you know, all the small guys with just a chainsaw and a cable skidder with very low expenses might be able to offer a real high stumpage rate to the town, whereas if that was batched in with it, that the stuff west of the airport, they just probably wouldn't be interested because they don't have
Sure,
the gear for it.
sure.
There's some towers in there too,
Yep.
super tall.
Oh yeah.
There's some monsters.
Oh yeah.
They're a little intimidating. Walking under them is a little.
Oh, man.
Yeah, there's some monsters in there.
Yeah, no, it's a really outstanding
Yeah.
stand of mine, and it has the potential to have a long future. And it's my intention to promote the trees that I see as, you know, having that future, so that when we're done with this, it's still a very attractive, very healthy forest that people want to recreate in.
Yeah.
And I think the bones are there for it, but I think there's a lot of trees that are valuable and in significant decline. And it seems a very, very good time to go in and deal with that.
For sure. Any questions from the council or the audience?
Just say very thorough, appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
Learned a lot, thank you.
It's an
Yeah.
extremely nuanced subject and it's hard to present on because
Interesting,
No, it's
though.
great.
It's really interesting, well done.
I find it interesting for
Yeah.
sure. Thank
Thank you
you.
for this. This is well laid out, easy to follow.
Yes, it is.
Yep, very well done.
Very clear.
Thank you.
Yep, no, we really appreciate it. Excellent. It should time up pretty good with things coming up for us
For
and
sure.
Yeah, I don't know if I
going
mentioned
into
at the
budget
beginning,
season and
but
all that.
I was born in Cornville and I live in Madison, so I'm local.
You're
Okay,
welcome.
yeah.
I'm not trying to go anywhere either.
Yeah,
I like it here.
Perfect,
Yeah,
that works.
awesome. Anybody else? So, you know, based on this information, do we need to do anything?
Yeah, so next steps would be I would put together a work agreement for us to represent you through the pine timber harvesting on the town forest. And, you know, we had already in the initial bid proposal for this project given you what our fees would be,
Right.
for that,
Yeah,
so.
yeah, I remember that, yeah,
So yeah, we'd send that your way and get started probably either late April, early May, maybe
Sure.
even before if the snow's gone. Snow's, not a lot of snow left.
Yeah, not much left now, yeah. Yeah,
But yeah, we might get started sooner rather than later with marking the timber, and the
okay,
sooner we can get it done, the earlier we can get loggers out there looking at it. They're less committed to their potential summer project,
right,
so,
right,
we're ahead on this one. We told you guys, I think like end of March,
yeah.
we'd have it done, and it just kind of fell into place before then, so. If we can keep that momentum going, that would be super.
Yep, no, that's great, but there's nothing that we have to do as a council for resolution, or
I don't think so, because we've kind of already
it was all inclusive,
approved moving ahead with the plan, which
okay,
had the various steps in it,
right,
and, you know, I think you had already laid out that we'd be putting this out to bid in June.
Yeah.
No later.
yeah, and it could potentially be sooner than.
Could be
June,
sooner,
potentially,
yeah,
if
yep.
you- If it lines up that way,
Yeah,
I
and
was just thinking having that, revenue dollar amount going into budget season
Yeah.
may be
Yeah,
I
Yeah,
mean, there's
we
no,
can project-
I'm not saying we need it, but,
We could.
I mean, he's given us a
Something.
ballpark here anyway.
Yeah.
But,
yeah, and I try to be conservative when I
Yeah.
tell people the money they're gonna generate,
sure,
so, like. I expect to generate the amount that we're saying, and I
Sure.
hope that there's
Hope it's-
more,
Yeah.
but I would be surprised if it's less.
yeah, okay, no, that's great. Um,
And as I said, we'll refine a little bit more as we get closer.
sure. All right. And there's no other town properties that weren't included in this? At this time, or
There
may
may be, I
wasn't sure, there was, on West Pittsfield behind the solar farm,
I'll have to do a little bit more well,
isn't there
That's
80
fine.
acres out there?
west, oh, no, that way, yeah, I didn't look into any of that.
I think there is an 80 acre. lot.
Yes, there
That's
is
pretty
some
dense.
town land up there, though I am.
That's
Check
like,
it out.
it looks more or less landlocked, but.
Yes, when you come across at the end of Phillips Corner Road. It's, I forget the name of the road now, it's like a driveway, but yeah, that's pretty much your way in, and then
Okay.
right beside the solar field. When you're going up, there's a wire going across, that's another way in there,
Right,
I can get Jack those answers.
but I guess that's a whole separate thing, that would have to be,
separate project probably.
Yeah.
At this point.
right, yeah, it's,
Worth checking out though.
Yeah,
right.
we'll go take a walk around.
Yeah.
Yeah,
If it means more work, I would look at it.
yeah, right, yeah,
Like,
if it means more revenue.
Yeah.
we
Needs
want
more
to-
revenue, get the trees in good health so we keep it going.
Yeah,
Yeah, but no, that was excellent, really appreciate the hard work and
Yeah, for
look forward
sure.
to the next step,
thank you very much.
awesome.
Look forward to
Thank you
hearing
very
about
much.
it. Thank you.
Appreciate your time, and yeah, we'll get you guys out in the woods too, if you want to. A little
Yeah.
hands-on learning.
Yeah, yeah,
That'd be awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good night.
thank you, have a good night. All right, moving on to public hearing, there's none, town managers report, Jack?
Few updates here, you've probably seen the tree trimmers doing our project canopy work. Expect them will be in the next week, doing that, and we'll be able to take care of some hazard trees also, while they're here. Something you may have heard about at the state level, they've done a lot in the last few years, in terms of statutes that require certain land use ordinances to allow for housing. And so in 2025, there was some more state regulations on what we can restrict and how we can restrict or not restrict housing. And so when they do that, they typically put grant opportunities out there so we could, you know, get a grant to help implement what these new changes are. So we put an application in to get some funding to try to bring our land use ordinances into compliance with the 2025 changes. And we were successful doing that. So we actually still have KV Cog trying to bring us up to speed on stuff that actually goes back to 2023, I think. And so this will actually dovetail pretty well. There's and I know the planning board has met and kind of gone over the land use ordinance. There are a lot of things that they've recommended we look at that don't even fall into the housing category. So it is gonna be a good chance to update our land use ordinance, so we're in compliance with the housing regulations and then all of the other things that we've talked about here and wanna put forward, so. That, I think that'll work out pretty well. I've updated everybody on the removal of the underground fuel tanks. We had those out of the ground as of the end of February, and we're just waiting to hear if there's any more we're gonna need to do in terms of soil remediation. Things look good at the time of removal. Just wait to hear if there's a further excavation and the steps that we need to take on that. We did have a broken sewer line, not related to the tank removal. We did have a broken sewer line out to Public Works Garage last week, so spent some time getting that dug up and replaced. It had been on the ground a while and it was broken in more than one spot, so hopefully that won't be an issue for anytime soon. I think I've updated you all on, we're working on the TIF proposal that the developer of the church property had brought to us back in the fall. And we're getting to the point where we are planning a public hearing on that, which is a part of the process. We can't submit the application to the state until we do a public hearing, and we're looking at our last April meeting for that. I think it's April 28th for that hearing, so we can get the application submitted in May. And then hopefully have that TIF in place by June before the end of the fiscal year. So when we're into the next commitment, we'll have the TIF in place. And we have work ongoing for the water and sewer projects on Main Street, Birchwood and Library Street. And right now, for the next 3 weeks, their focus is on Main Street, and they'll also be starting work mid-April on Library Street that will wrap up towards the end of May there. So things seem to be going pretty well with those projects. And another project that we've had kind of on the docket is Honeywell sewer line replacement. And that's kind of been in all the numbers that Annalise presented to us. That's something that they've got a bid package out and inviting bids for. We learned that the DOT is planning paving of Honeywell in 2027. So ideally, if we could get that into 2026 work, then we would not be digging into new pavement in 2027. So we're just finding out that DOT's planning to do that, so we're gonna get bids back and look at the potential of getting Honeywell done before that road gets paved. That's it.
Is that it? Thank you. Yeah, thank you, Jack. There are department head reports in the package. Does anybody have any questions on those or
I have a
on
question.
Jack's
No one's
report?
here to answer them. I noticed every month the transfer station mentions that they do random checks for stickers. I'd be interested to know how many people they find that don't have a sticker or a sticker that's not supposed to be here. They could include a little bit about that.
Yeah.
No big deal, but I just noticed that every month they put that in there, and it
Right.
triggered my question, like, well, I wonder what becomes of that.
Yeah, and
It's a lot.
I bet, I'd love to
yeah,
know.
and I meant,
People that don't have stickers or that don't have stickers to our town,
Different towns that just roll in through
That's what I'm-
contractors from other towns.
Right.
I'd love to know how many people they turn away.
I would bet, without even asking them, that it's probably somewhere between 40 and 80 a month.
And so they stop that vehicle and turn around and not.
Yeah, I mean, they do random checks all the time.
right,
That's great.
They check me all the time and I see them 10 times a day. It's not like, it's funny because it isn't,
Well, that's great.
They're turning away a tremendous amount of volume
Yep,
right.
all the time.
yeah.
And Jack and I kind of mentioned it, they've done it in the past, is come April where it's nicer weather, they'll do an all-day check.
Yeah.
Yep.
Or an couple
Yeah.
days check.
And I'm sure it's time
So
consuming.
every single person that goes in there, if they don't have a sticker,
You're out.
yeah, well, you can buy one right then if you have a
Perfect.
address.
Oh, good.
I
Because we sell them down to the dump now.
still see it
But-
differently. I say put a scale in it and invite them.
That's, Another,
That comes up every
that's
other
another
year.
discussion.
Put a note out, all welcome.
Not for.
No sticker, hit the scale.
That's right.
Well, part of the thing was, I think they did stickers down there for a while, and then they took them out, and then you had to get them here.
Right,
And then the price went up, and then people were trying to sneak in, but
Oh,
the
geez.
problem with the screening is that they have to stand on the Peltoma side of the first access road to get into the bulk cans. Because people will know that they're there scanning people if they're up on the top of the hill and they just dart in there and do their thing and then they leave. So what happens is, and I've seen this firsthand, and I see it all the time, and those guys, if they have valid complaints about this. People will just throw all of their stuff down there because they're not supposed to be there at all.
right,
So anything that they have, cardboard piles or whatever, that's not even supposed to be there, is all there.
Yeah, they put it where it's not
It
supposed to
happens
be.
all the time because they don't wanna get snugged up by the people up on the top of the hill that are trying to do their job. So that, it's a problem. It should be dealt with, and it is a problem. It's a big problem, actually. But I think that they've done a fair job controlling the volume of the outsiders trying to come through over the last couple of years.
That's awesome.
And I think that, you know, a lot of the repeat offenders, know that. And they've diverted those.
Good.
right,
There's been policies in place, like if you're doing a job in town from out of town, you come in and you pay per truckload. Some people are familiar with that, some aren't. It's
Right.
fascinating, actually, because nobody actually looked into it. It's like permitting, it's the same thing, but. I do think there's a tremendous amount of work that needs to be done there, but they have done a fair job and they turn away a lot of people. And if you ask them, I don't know what their numbers will say, but I would guess 40 to 80.
Wow.
And I do think that
That's higher than I
they
would have thought.
should do one patrol a month, like some form of mandatory, somebody just is out there all day, one day, whatever it is, once a month. And then actually make a report of that, so there's some form of paper data somewhere
right,
to know that it's going down, so that jobs are being done.
yeah,
And
exactly,
that's not to call out any specific employees in any department, it's just a matter of, is it actually working or does something else needs to happen?
And I don't know how you go about this, but I wonder, like, could you somehow find the people that tried to come in? Without a sticker, like they thought they were gonna come in here and dump their stuff at the dump.
I think it'd be easier to find them if you could figure out who dumped the illegal load that
Yeah.
wasn't supposed to be there.
So I mean, the simple solution is you see it and then you roll the camera back.
Yeah.
If there was a camera on the side of the building, which I don't know why they wouldn't do one, because you could zoom in on a license plate,
Right.
because there's only so many people up there working.
And then send them a bill.
I don't know why you wouldn't. I mean, it affects everything and it tumbles down, and then of course you have these monumental costs to do upgrades and things that can't happen, and I mean, it contributes to the problem, not the solution for sure, so there is a way that you can go about it. And it is illegal, so it's not like you can't send them a ticket or a bill, I mean, that's pretty straightforward, I think,
I think so too.
I don't see
Something to
why
put on
not.
our list, yeah.
I would put it on the list for sure.
Any other questions? The housing ordinance, are you gonna roll in like the ordinances of like not living in campers year round? Or is that a completely separate issue? Are those gonna be rolled in together or not?
So we were trying to roll that in all to the ordinance. I have to talk with KV cog, touch base on that. That's the plan. With the new grant we just got approved for $15,000.
Yeah,
We're hoping, I'm still hoping to have that enrolled because we do have campers that are popping up all over.
right,
And we can get that addressed as well in the same time we're doing the other ordinance,
yeah,
throughout the town.
okay, and, go ahead.
I was just gonna say that we've kind of been at this a while, we've been at this since last summer, and what we've done is we put so much on the plate that one of the critical things is that we've got some statutory compliance to do from 2022, maybe 2023, that,
Catherine.
and because it puts Russell in a tough spot, because our land use ordinance might say you can't do something, but state law says that they can, because the state has become more lax, like we're supposed to allow any residential property that's a single family home to have a second unit. That's like the 2022 law. Now it's even like, I think you're gonna let them have 3 units if it's permitted to be single family. And if they're on water and sewer, 4. So I mean, so that's the kind of thing, so we should follow state law, but it's awkward if our ordinance is saying something different. So what we may do is put forward a bunch of changes. That's basically an addendum to our ordinance. So it's not gonna be actually incorporated into every section, but here are the changes that we've adopted. And we may try to push those through before June 30th. And then go back and then deal with the 2025 stuff. At the same time, we're trying to incorporate things into our ordinance and then deal with the, the campers and those other issues. In kind of a two-step process. Because we have a little more time to deal with the 2025 stuff, but some of the older stuff, I think we just want to get on the books. So Russell's job is easier.
Okay. For the campers that people are living in, are we still receiving receipts that they get their
We
waste?
are,
removed?
and I actually just spoke with somebody the other day that hasn't given the receipts, and we're looking to move forward with fines and legal actions.
And back to court.
Yep, and continue the same process, but until we have an ordinance, it makes it challenging. It's
Well,
just-
the waste removal is,
exactly,
I mean,
but they.
if I'm building a house, I have to have a.
Exactly, and a
porta
lot of
potty
their
there, so.
excuses are, well, I'm not living there full time, I'm staying here. And if there's actually a house on the property, like there's one on Snake Root Road, and well, I use the bathroom in the house. And then that kinda, I'm not going in there with a stick,
No,
measuring.
I got you.
Well, it's not full yet, even though you have to take people on their word. To an extent, but they are aware that there is an ordinance that will be taking effect and.
Okay.
They don't like it.
So receipts of
Well, receipts.
pumping and dumping, is that what it's for?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
So they have to have someone
And that-
come to their camper and take care of it?
Unless they
They have a force
can drive it, to
Gotcha.
Newport or something like that, but either way, it's an ongoing problem,
Hmm.
a growing
But
problem.
that's an ordinance in place now
That's through the state, yes,
to remove waste matter.
yes. It
Not
is.
just dump it on the ground.
No, yeah,
I was
they,
gonna say, what would they do otherwise, but,
yeah,
Yeah,
oh.
no, yeah,
Oh,
they,
geez.
you'd be surprised what some people will do.
yes, yeah.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, good, thank you, bud.
No,
Any other questions? All right, moving on, there's no old business, we'll move on to new business. Nicole, can you please read resolution 2615?
Resolved that the town council accept the bid from blank for interim financing for water sewer and roadway capital improvement projects.
Look for a motion from the council,
Make a motion, we adopt resolution 2615. A second.
moved and seconded. Jack, this is stuff we've gone over before, so it's just accepting some interim loans.
Yeah, so last meeting, we approved the RFP to get bids from lenders for basically the construction phase of the water and sewer work. Basically, the way it works is you get a construction phase loan and then you get the long-term loan. We'll be going to the bond bank for that. And so we got, I think, 4 bids back on the construction phase financing. And we got our low bid from Scotian Savings Bank.
All right, are there any questions from the audience or the council? Not a great interest rate, but not the worst, I guess.
Not the worst, it gets worse.
Can that change at all if it does happen to go down in the next X amount of time? Is there an option for that, or is it fixed?
I don't think it's an option. It's not a variable rate, so it's not gonna go down, but it's also as needed. So
Okay.
we're not gonna, it's not like they're gonna front us all this and start paying that rate on the full amount from day one. We'll just draw down what we need and hopefully not have the average amount out there any higher than we need to.
That was the concern.
Yeah.
Okay. Any questions from the audience or the council regarding resolution 2615? Hearing none, since we're ready to vote, all those in favor of resolution 2615?
We have to write in, Scott.
Yes, kidding?
Just gotta fill in.
You
I
wanna
just got to amend. the
Amended,
amend
fill
it.
in,
Yeah.
yeah.
to accept the bid from Skowhegan Savings Bank for the rate of 4.63% without deposits.
So I gotta make the motion, so I make a motion to, or I'd like to amend the motion to accept the bid from Skowhegan Savings Bank, the interest rate of 4.63%.
I'll second that.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor of resolution 2615 as amended, please signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed, say nay. Ayes have it, resolution 2615 passes. Moving on to resolution 16. Nicole.
Resolved that the town council address properties at 198 Lincoln Street, 430 Peltoma Avenue, and North Main Street as dangerous buildings.
Look for a motion from the council.
Make a motion, we adopt resolution 2616.
Second,
Moved and seconded. Jack, do you want to speak to these?
So these are dangerous buildings that we started talking about actually back in August last year. In terms of, and we've been putting some through the queue. We had a couple obviously at our last meeting. These three happen to be all tax acquired. So it's not exactly the same process as we had at our last meeting where we had a hearing for owners to come and kind of make their pitch on the property. These are tax acquired properties that we can make decisions on in terms of how we want to address these as dangerous buildings and what we think the best next steps are for these. The former Redemption Center property, 186 North Main Street, we do have in the Brownfields program. So that means that they're assessing that site and the past uses. I understand this past commercial uses that, you know, made it eligible to be considered through the Brownfields, but that may be a case where we may be able to utilize cleanup funds, you know, just to deal with the structure removal. Hazardous building materials, which is likely to have asbestos, lead paint, you know, asbestos in the roofing materials or whatever. So that's one that we may be able to find some resources to help us remove that structure. The others, you know, are not in that situation, but still in need of some action to be taken that you know we're in a position to do. And then
sorry, quick question, when you say tax acquired, does that mean the town owns them, they're the town's property?
we've got foreclosed tax liens, yes, so they're town owned.
Okay,
How this plays out with a new foreclosure and selling of town property. What we would do, let's say we tore down one of the structures, either Lincoln Street or Peltoma. What we do is we track our cost of that removal. And then we track what is owed in back taxes. And we would have basically an amount that we're owed, okay? Then presumably we would take the lot and we'd put it up for sale at as close to market value as we could get. If we can break even, that, you know, we have whatever into it and we get that same amount back, then that's pretty much the end of it. If we, on paper, made money on that, meaning that the cost of the back taxes and the cost of the removal was less than what we were able to make, we would have to try to find the former owner or the former estate or heirs or whatever the case may be and pay the difference between what we earned and what we had into it. We'd have to document that we paid that difference to the former owner. So we're not gonna gain anything, you know, monetarily from doing these, other than we're gonna take a property that's in not returning, you know, tax revenue, because the taxes aren't being paid, number one. The buildings are dangerous, you know, we can improve the neighborhoods, we can put a property basically back onto the tax rolls in a better condition, maybe more future tax revenue. So that's kind of how it plays out.
Can't make money, it's gonna look better, and we'll
and
eventually
if
get
there's
tax
any
revenue.
even
hopefully,
small profit, we have to reach out to the former owner
And
and
give them a
transfer.
profit.
I've got to keep track, you know, with
That's a
documentation, yeah.
Interesting,
state law, so.
interesting.
Unfortunate, but
Well, the new tax rate is gonna be more significant than what the old one was, that wasn't even. paid.
That's right.
So It really doesn't make any.
And it's gonna look a lot nicer,
Yeah.
so.
If you, yeah,
So we're.
Won't be the case.
And,
you'd be better off to shoot for even anyway.
Yeah.
yeah, exactly.
I mean, there's no point in trying to gain anything.
No,
Right, right.
It's just gonna occupy more people's time.
right. But. Yeah, so anyway, it sounds like. The old redemption center is a one-off and we'll kind of. Treat that differently, but. In my. Opinion, I would. Lincoln Street and Peltoma. I would tear down. Is that your recommendation?
So I
Clean
would
up the
say the
property.
Water Redemption Center, I would say that's a total loss. That was condemned, the upstairs was condemned before I was here.
Right,
I think that should be,
right, but the brownfields and
that's in the
Ideally.
process, yes.
take care of
And
that.
then, yeah, the other ones, either Peltoma, I haven't ever been able to go inside of that property. A tree did fall on the roof at one point, I'm sure there's mold, I'm sure there's other things.
Yeah,
But my biggest concern with that, and which I did earlier in the year, was I did put a fence out back around the in-ground pool. Which is a liability for the town if a kid wandered off and fell into that pool or something like that.
right,
So I think that should be filled in or something sooner than later, just to avoid any kind of hiccups or issues that
right,
may come from that. It was only the orange snow fencing, but it was something and the attorneys approved of that.
We must have the means to fill that in pretty quickly, I would think. And I had this discussion with somebody else the other day about this pool thing, and they caught a kid in there.
Oh, really?
So the trouble really is that it needs to be dealt with like yesterday.
This
well,
pool that we're
but
talking
you,
about, there
but
was a
you
kid in
can't,
it?
This recently, there was a kid playing,
Oh,
right,
somebody had seen it.
yeah, I had no idea.
So it just, I mean, the pool's been there forever, the place is not worth doing anything with, you wouldn't sell it to anybody that would buy it.
Right.
And it needs to be torn down, in my opinion, I've seen it for 16, 17 years now being empty, and it's just getting worse and worse. I
Yeah,
mean, there's no, the pool should be filled in, I would think we could collect enough material left over from, road digs or whatever, there must be a pile somewhere that we can truck down there and fill that in at least, to get rid of that liability.
yeah, you gotta pull, if there's a liner and all that stuff, you gotta pull that out.
It's
first.
rotted out
Yeah.
on the bottom.
I know, but you gotta pull that all
Yeah,
out first.
yeah. Oh, yeah,
Because
absolutely.
You can't just bury the whole
Yeah.
pool.
No, I
Like
get
this.
that,
But anyway, to your point,
Short work with an excavator that we haven't
Exactly.
already owned. is my point.
exactly,
So a couple of guys in a dump truck in a half a day can make the problem go away versus the alternative.
Right.
So Russell has a perfect point in that.
right. So I think. We may be in agreement on that property, but, and then Lincoln Street,
Yeah,
I
that's-
drove by that today,
total loss.
that's a lot.
Yeah, dirt floors.
Yeah, it's a nice lot, actually, the lot's
Oh,
not
yeah.
bad, it's got, a
We've
nice-
had plenty of people
it's got a nice
inquire,
view.
all the neighbors
It does have a
are
nice view.
interested in it. And I advise everybody that, as Jack said, the new law, as of a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, it has to go for fair market value. You have to list it you have to attempt to list it with 3 realtors, for that price. And then it gets dispersed, whatever we make for our expenses, and then the rest goes back.
Hmm.
And that's if there's not federal taxes or anything else owed. They get their hand in the pot too, to recover their money.
All right, all right, so how do we vote on?
I think that the resolution, just that we deal with them as dangerous buildings, but I
Okay.
think if I'm kind of hearing what our intent is what I can do is. Put out a request for proposals for 2 demolitions, so someone would come in and basically take care of both of them and. And then we can bring that back and kind of go from there.
So we're gonna have to amend this,
No, they're just classifying it as,
no, because we gotta amend it to approve him to go out the RFP. For that, right? We just have to add that at the end,
oh, sure,
Yeah, that's fine, yeah.
right?
yeah,
I think, just to keep it all under one motion, not have to bring it back next month.
right.
So do we deal with the debris in that instance and hire somebody just to do the legwork? Or are we paying them to get rid of do the disposal at the same time? Cause that seems like kind of a double.
No, I would just have somebody fill the cans. We can have the cans there
Yeah.
and take care of the cans getting hauled off
Yeah.
and pay for that. We can pay for that. It's just getting the cans filled and getting
Yep.
the site dealt with.
Like you said, someone with a good excavator won't take them long to get rid of that stuff.
Short or easy ones. That one over there is even faster. I mean, the Lincoln Street will be done in probably 20 minutes.
Right.
It's like 2 scoops and it's
Yeah.
gonna be out of there. This one over here is not far. If you went by with a radio loud enough, it would probably fall. It's pretty bad. It's bad.
So, yeah, it would be a motion with that amendment on the, end, as long as we're all in agreement.
Yeah.
That we would tear those two down and
Mhm.
brownfield the other one.
Yeah.
Good, Pete? Okay. Yep, go ahead, Greg.
I'd like to amend the motion, amend our motion to include, or to read the resolution. Resolved that the town council address properties at 198 Lincoln Street, 430 Peltoma Avenue, and 186 North Main Street as dangerous buildings. And approve town manager to seek RFPs for demolition and removal of the Lincoln Street and Peltoma Avenue buildings.
Okay.
Moved and seconded. Any questions, concerns, comments from the audience or the council? Yes, sir.
That building-
Can you come up and state your name and where you live? Appreciate it, bud.
I'm Zachary Leanhood. I live on 332 Heartland Ave. How does that brownfield building play into that? Does that also need to be part of the amendment? I didn't hear you mention it.
No, I think there's already something that's in the works, correct? And that's not anything that would potentially incur cost for us at this time.
The former redemption center.
Yeah,
property.
yes.
Yeah, we may not have the full cost of that building removal. I'd rather wait on it, but at the same time, if there's dangerous conditions there, to try to deal with them, like, one thing that I believe we're gonna need to do is try to send out a kind of a final notice in terms of if there's anybody's got any personal property they wanna salvage before things, get hauled away. Give them a timeline to do that, and that might be the case. What we wanna do with the redemption center, former redemption center property, is there's a vehicle parked there, and there may be some stuff, and I know Russ has talked with the one of the former tenants there. I'm not sure he's a former owner, but someone that used to be involved with the property, so we would just hold off probably on the demolition of redemption center, but take steps in the meantime.
We included that in the dangerous building, so that was acted.
Oh,
So it's
yeah.
just, we can't act on anything financially because we don't know the answer to this brownfield.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
And it'll come back to the council. It's classified dangerous building now, but it'll come back to the council once we get answers from
Yes.
brownfield and everything else.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, no
Yep,
problem. Thank you.
great, thank you, appreciate it. Any other questions, comments?
I have a quick question. The brown structure across the street from the blue redemption, is that becomes residence? Someone live in that
Yes,
Okay.
directly across that is somebody's house.
house?
Yeah.
I couldn't tell.
Yeah, the guys live there. I don't know how many years it's been before my time, but somebody does live there.
All right, any other questions?
Pretty close to 10.
Huh?
All right,
Pretty close to 10.
since we're ready to vote, all those in favor of resolution 2616 as amended, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, say nay. Ayes have it, resolution 2616 passes as amended. Moving on to resolution 2617, Nicole.
Resolved that the town council approve completing the necessary requirements for CMP to accept the town's power line on Peltoma Avenue and to utilize water system reserve funds to cover projects.
Look for a motion from the council.
Make a motion that we adopt resolution 2617.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Dex, or anything you want to speak?
So
on?
we talked a little bit about this at our last meeting. The town had to basically extend the power line from approximately the transfer station all the way to the Burnham line so that we could have three-phase power to the water system pump station. So we've owned that line since the early 90s. And we have all the liability for maintaining that line. And so I know that it's been pursued in the past about what would it take to get CMP to take over that line and have it become their power line. And so I had a field engineer come out and look at the condition of it and basically said that there's really three things we'd have to do. One is fix a guy wire. One is to pay basically a federal fee whenever a line transfers to a public utility, they have to assess a fee that gets passed on to the federal government. And then the biggest thing is what they call three-phase spec tree trimming. So you gotta go basically 12 feet back off the pole, ground to sky. Everything, because it's three-phase, that's the spec, and that's the biggest part of that. What they also said was that sometimes they require the whole section of line to be rebuilt to the new standards, which would be bigger poles, and it would be like tree-resistant wire. Sometimes you have to rebuild the whole section. They're not making us do that because their section on Peltoma isn't that way, and we're tied into their section. But they said if they upgraded their section to the bigger poles and the tree resistant wire, and then we went to them, we'd have to upgrade because we're tied into them. So he said, if you're gonna do it, you really just wanna do it before anything changes. So I've been able to kind of get the pieces together here, and I've got what I think is the not to exceed cost for doing this. It looks like the fee that they would pass on is, I think I put it in here, $6,200. The project canopy tree trimmers that have come through have given us an estimate. If they were to come back and do that tree trimming, that would come in just over 47,000. So I feel like we have kind of a not to exceed $55,000 cost to get this so CMP would accept it. I also think it could come in significantly less than that. I want to kind of look at that possibility. There's the potential that Chimbro may be interested in getting power out to their lot, their training facility out in Burnham, and that would basically require some more tree trimming out beyond Burnham. And if that could be kind of combined, it might save us on our end. So what I just kind of want to update you on the information that I have. I feel like we can move ahead with this, not to exceed 55, but hopefully, come in less than that and be able to not own a 1.2 miles of power line anymore.
Yep, excellent. Are there any questions, concerns, or comments from the audience or the council? All right, hearing none, since we're ready to vote, all those in favor of resolution 2617, please signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed say nay. Ayes have it, resolution 2617 passes. Moving on to resolution 2618. Nicole.
Resolved that the town council approves the revised contract with KB Cog for comprehensive planning.
Look for a motion from the council.
A motion to approve resolution 2618.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Jack, you want to speak on that?
Yep, so to kind of put it into a nutshell, we talked about back in the fall when we were gonna move ahead with creating a TIF district for the church project. The benefit of having a TIF district, tax increment financing district, all through our downtown. We're gonna have the villages project come through, DOT is gonna make a lot of upgrades. We can incentivize property owners on Main Street to do rehabs, and there would be a tax benefit for them. Put that all in the TIF district. So that was our original intent. What we learned is that in order to have what's under statute as a downtown TIF, you actually have to have a downtown revitalization plan in place for the state to approve a downtown TIF. So we've moved ahead with a single parcel TIF, so the church project's going along. But we need to have a downtown revitalization plan in order to get the larger downtown TIF. And at the same time, in talking with our assessor, because we're doing a reval and because the TIF district will look back to values, if we were to do it now, the TIF, it looks back to values April 1st, 2025. Values are gonna change because of the reval April 1, 2026. So it's the best time really to capture a TIF district if you can look back to the previous April 1st, because the value that's in the district will not be included in the formulas that calculate how much county tax you have or what your revenue sharing is. Sometimes a higher value will lower your revenue sharing and so forth. So we get benefit on the formulas for more value that we shelter. So to move ahead and get our downtown revitalization plan in place, get a downtown TIF district in place, get the application submitted all before March 1st, 2027. That would be the goal. So we have time. We just don't have a lot of time to waste because we'll be all through pretty much most of 2026 getting the plan done and submitted. And so I talked with Katie Cog, who has our contract to do the comprehensive plan, and talked to them about basically creating an addendum to the comp plan and say it's a downtown revitalization plan. There's a little bit of overlap because you actually use statistical data that you're gonna collect for the downtown plan in the comp plan. So it's a pretty good coordination of work, which what they're gonna put together for the downtown plan is gonna be useful in the comp plan. So what they've done is their original contract for the comp plan was $30,000. Our budget is 50. They came in significantly lower than anyone else at 30, and they can tack the revitalization plan on there for another 15, puts them at 45, still under a $50,000 budget. And so, and then they can actually get going on that first, because really, with the timing of all this, the priority would be the downtown plan. Then they'll move it to the comp plan. So that's the idea. That's what's in front of you, and that's why it's an amended comprehensive planning contract, because you're gonna add the downtown plan to it and prioritize it.
Excellent.
Smart.
Are there any questions from the audience or the council? I think it's a great idea. I'm glad it's under budget, so that works. All right, all those in favor of resolution 2618, please signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed, say nay. Ayes have it, resolution 2618 passes. For looking into that and making that work out quite well. Moving on to resolution 2619, Nicole.
Resolved that the town council approve and sign a construction agreement with MDOT if necessary, which would allow the contractor to use overweight equipment and loads on municipal ways on project number 026109.00 and 026111.00.
Look for a motion from the council.
Make a motion that we adopt resolution 2619.
Second. Moved and seconded. Jack, this is probably pretty standard.
Yeah, this is something we see every time the DOT has a project, so this pertains to the two large culvert replacements on kind of Outer Main Street, that they're gonna be doing this summer. And what they basically say is, if in the course of that project, if the town has any posted roads, which I'm not sure would come into play in the summertime, but if we had any posted roads, and if the contractor needed to cross over those roads that are posted overweight, that we would issue them a permit, and then we could, if we chose to, require them to get a bond in order to do it, if we were worried about damage. And that just says, if we run into that scenario, we'll issue them a permit, and the question really would just be whether we require a bond or not. So.
Per case basis,
Yeah.
depending on everything.
Okay. Any questions or concerns from the audience or the council? Hearing none, since we're ready to vote, all those in favor of resolution 2619, please signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed, say nay. Ayes have it, resolution 2619 passes. Moving on to resolution 2620. Nicole.
Resolved that the town council appoint members to boards and committees from the list provided.
Look for a motion from the council.
Make a motion, we open resolution 2620 for discussion.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Jack, do you want to, or Nicole? You have to discuss any of these. Most of them are reappointments of positions
Everything is a renewal.
and they're,
Lucinda, who she was the one that did the petition for the reuse building to reopen,
right,
and she's asking to be on the recycling committee.
makes sense,
Yeah.
passionate about it. That's always good. We would be reappointing Andy Bigu to the Board of Appeals, Robert Stackhouse to Board of Ethics, Gerald Vinci to Economic Development Committee Team. Library trustees would be Christine Ferrier, Planning Board Corey Verrill, and Walter Fletcher III, and then recycling would be the Lucinda Treadwell. Any questions, concerns, or comments? Hearing none, since we're ready to vote, all those in favor of resolution 2620, please signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed, say nay. Ayes have it, resolution 2620 passes. And we appreciate all the volunteers to fill those positions. Moving on to public comment. Any comments tonight from the audience? All set, all right. Moving on to council comments. Pete?
No comment.
Excellent. Craig?
Happy St. Patty's Day,
Yes, sir.
everybody. Well, like around to all those others out there. I have a question. What did we see for a turnout in our dance?
What?
Dance?
Yeah, the community heart and soul day.
Oh, I don't, I never heard. Heard about
Never heard?
independence.
Okay.
But,
Excellent. I just interested me,
Do
right?
you know?
First swing at
I'm
something.
not sure.
Not off the top of my head.
Off the top of our
Tell me
head.
about mom prom, but I don't know about that.
You know, I saw pics from mom probably. That was awesome. You guys had a great time. That was great. No, I just was wondering. All right, no other comments?
All right. All set, okay?
I just want to say, Russell, thank you for all the work you're doing. It feels really good to see movement on properties like this. We've talked about it at the town level for a really long time. So thank you for the work you're doing. I know it's not easy. I just want to say, Jack, I think you're doing an incredible job. A lot of stuff, again, that was talked about in town meetings for a very long time. Movement, you're getting things done. I appreciate it very much.
Thanks, one step at a time.
Yep,
know,
thank
just
you.
Keep pushing.
That's correct. All set?
All set.
All right, do we have an update on the latest audit stuff?
We are waiting on a draft audit for 24.
Not bad.
Yeah, we got our 23, we're waiting for a draft audit on 24. Which I'm hoping is not too far off. And then they'll go right into the short 6-month 25, which you would think would be quick, but they.
You go through the same
They're
stuff,
gonna do pretty much the same stuff, you know, so
maybe just less.
they're really not a shorter document, just shorter timeframe.
Sure.
Yeah.
Is there anything that we need from those audits going into, budget season? Like, should Ron come and present anything?
I think it would, you know, it would kind of reaffirm, you know, our understandings to get the draft audit, which so we will have that. I'm convinced we'll have that for. And then we can invite Ron to come in and talk about 24th, you know.
Okay,
if we want.
yeah, and it'd be good to
It's
have
good
that.
to hear from him.
Yeah, it's good to have a rough idea of, you know, what our general fund is and
Yeah.
our fund balance and all that, so.
Yep.
All right, the next meeting, is that a budget meeting? Is that the
Our
beginning?
next meeting
Is that
would be,
beginning of April?
would be the second Tuesday in April would be a budget meeting.
The 14th.
Yes.
Second Tuesday,
Sounds right.
okay. Well, yeah, send out a reminder, but yeah, it's second Tuesday of April, Craig and Pete. Will be a budget meeting
April 14th.
and I think
That'll be our next meeting.
I can send out reminder. And, there's not a lot of information being sent out for the new school, project, so pay attention to that on, social media. A lot of good information. There's a lot of, facts and not so much facts out there, so, just be sure to get, go to the sources that are, educated on the situation and whatnot. So is the online bill pay open, closed?
It's still closed. We resolved the issue and, we want to bring it up as soon as we can. We just have to do some manual entries. So we had a period of time where the two interfaces weren't talking to each other. We had basically Gov Windows receiving payments, tracking payments, we get the statements, but it wasn't uploading to Trio, so you couldn't see it when you go on to Trio. So we have to do manual entries there, and what I'd like to do is get those in, so that when we bring it back up and people go on to actually make a payment, they can see their accurate, up-to-date balance, and then there wouldn't be any confusion, so. So yeah, it's coming to, finishing it up here.
Which you should probably stay off until we get new bills. Cause if I go on to pay my bill and it's double what it should be.
Well, right now.
Oh, I guess it'd be
You
a
couldn't,
credit,
you couldn't do it, yeah, you couldn't go online and do it right
But
now.
when you bring it back online,
Yeah,
and
you'll
I got
see,
my bill,
you'll see your,
the accurate balance.
yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Alright. Question, Craig? Your
I
comments?
kinda let my time go.
Yeah, it's kind of over. No, go ahead. Go ahead if you want.
Round two.
Yeah.
I forgot about something.
Did you?
Can I ask why we're renting an excavator that's the same size as the one that we have?
Is that the loader?
It's from the water district. And the idea was that they were gonna rent from us.
So the reason why they had to do it is
Okay.
because we have one wheeler that can haul the excavator, that's the Volvo.
Yep,
And that was down for like 2 weeks. And so they had
Got a new clutch.
two water main breaks, and literally, they're like, we need the excavator, like, we can't move it, we have nothing to move it with. Because that's the only thing they can. So then they were, and the only reason, they were gonna wait on the water main break until we could get the thing, but it was a hydrant, it was over by, I think it was an issue with a hydrant over by the school, and they're like, we're not
Yep.
gonna,
Yeah.
we're not gonna wait on that at all, so that's.
about 7 feet away,
But they did. I
How
think
much
it
does
was-
that cost?
$1,000. I'm just wondering, like,
No,
trucking
I'm
company
asking-
to haul that, like a dump truck to haul it over there for us.
right. Somebody in that, Brent Newhouse might have hauled it for $300.
French, I mean, we already have a contract with French, they're already doing a lot of
Right.
stuff with us, right? You know, I mean, it's,
Uh,
I'm just wondering, you know what I mean, it's one of those things that catches my attention
Yeah.
every single time I see it.
yeah, I
It's
did yours, yeah.
it's the last thing we wanna be doing is, rent something we have.
Well, and, I mean, to our point, if you have to rent, you have to rent, but instead of renting that, just hire somebody to move the one we've got.
And,
If
you know,
it's $600 cheap, yeah, it's $600, but it's
Yeah.
$600.
I just see one of those things as like, we're spending the town's money, we're not spending our own money, kind of thing, right? And that, like, one of the things is we rented a lift. We paid $450 in delivery fees. How much will that cost us to, on the one ton of the trailer that we already had to go get it?
Right.
You know what I mean, right?
Yeah.
$35 in diesel or $450 in delivery fees. If I was paying out of my pocket, I'd tell you exactly what I'd do. I got 3 trailers at my house, I'm hauling one of them up there to get it.
Yeah,
Right, it's one of those things, it just, to me, I see one stewardship of the money that we
yeah,
have, right, and the money that we're given account for. I think we need to be just watching that a little bit, well, it's just one of those things,
right.
So we have a smaller trailer.
even if it's the big trailer, all that thing, I don't know what we have for a truck, but I'm sure we have other trailers, we have access to stuff.
Right.
You can contract it for a lot cheaper than $450.
Right, I'll go get it for 200.
Right.
Okay, it's like, what if you do 1,000, I'll do it for 900.
Yeah.
Give me $100. And then one of my
This isn't an auction.
Put out an RFP for next time. You did this.
All right, so yeah, the online bill pay will be back up and going soon. That's good. And yeah, just appreciate everybody's hard work moving forward, look forward to budget season and cutting costs everywhere we can and, yeah, just that's about it. I
Make a motion
mean,
to adjourn.
yeah.
Second.
We're adjourned.